Even if you're at a lower level or if you have a young horse, teaching your horse this concept of the Piaffe is really helpful because it gets your horse sitting behind, it gets your horse engaging behind, it gets your horse thinking about their hind legs, all of those things that we need even at a more basic level. Hello, I'm Amelia. In this video, I'm going to teach you step by step how to teach your horse to Piaffe in hand. And this is such an important skill to have because I think a lot of times we just one day decide, oh, I want to teach my horse to Piaffe, and you end up kind of like kicking and pulling, putting a lot of pressure on your horse. Your horse has no concept of what they should be doing. And yet the Piaffe is a really important training tool to use for your horse. Even if you're at a lower level or if you have a young horse, teaching your horse this concept of the Piaffe is really helpful because it gets your horse sitting behind, it gets your horse engaging behind, it gets your horse thinking about their hind legs, all of those things that we need even at a more basic level. And groundwork is an essential skill to have. So with all of my FEI horses, this is Mick here, I do quite a bit of groundwork as part of my weekly routine with him. I'll often spend a few moments on the ground with him before I get on because it's a lot easier for your horse to engage their hind end and lift their back when you're not sitting on top of them. If you want to learn step by step how to teach all the dressage movements from the ground, check out the description box. I have an entire dressage groundwork masterclass where I go through all of it. But in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick step-by-step tutorial to help you learn how to teach your horse to Piaffe in hand. Step one is what I call red light, green light. And so this is really just about balancing your horse's energy and getting your horse reading with you. What you want for this is it should be like a dance. So when you walk, that's not really a dance. I have a reluctant partner. Your horse should walk. When you stop, your horse should stop. When you walk, your horse should walk. When you stop, up, your horse should stop. Walk, stop, up, walk, stop, walk, stop, back up, walk, stop, back up. Good boy. So notice how he was very with me. Like I wasn't even having to pull on the reins. He was just really reading my body language. So walk, stop, back up, walk, stop, back up. Good. Walk. Good boy. Okay, so step one is the red light, green light, getting your horse really reading your body language. That's something that you can even do when you're just leading your horse from the pasture to the cross ties. Something that I do with all my young horses, really important so that they don't run over the top of you when something scares them. Step two is leg lifting. So for leg lifting, what you want to do is you want to position your horse near a rail to help keep your horse straight and so they don't wiggle around. For the leg lifting, I recommend using a bamboo stick. This is nicer because the whip can kind of sting your horse. This is a bit of a duller tone to it, so your horse is a little more accepting of the pressure in general. For the leg lifting, you're going to start at the top of your horse's croup. You're going to stroke the bamboo stick down in between your horse's fetlock and their hock. You're going to give tap, tap, tap. When your horse lifts and hold their legs up like that, then release. So let me show you again. You can tell I've practiced this a lot with Mick. So start at the croup, slide down, tap, 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 lift and hold and release. Good boy. And what you really want with this is you want your horse to hold their leg up in the air. So this alone is a balancing and a coordination exercise for your horse. Just like for you, you might practice balancing on one leg and holding up the other leg. The leg lifting is the same for your horse. And a lot of horses will have a really hard time balancing on one leg, or you'll see them like with the opposite leg, they'll go like really out behind and like really funky like this. The leg lifting phase usually takes, I would say, about 2 to 4 weeks of working on it every single day. And this is where I used to make the mistake of I would just get frustrated and be like, why isn't my horse piaffing today? Remember that teaching your horse to piaffe is a long process. It's not going to happen overnight. So you want to continue working on the leg lifting until it's super reliable like this, and until you can go left hind, right hind, left hind, right hind, left hind, and you need to be able to do it from both sides. So both from standing on the left side and standing on the right side. Step 3 in the process is walking leg lift. So this is where you put together a little bit of the centering idea, the forward into the contact with your leg lifting exercise. For this part of the process, you're going to hold the reins. You're going to ask your horse to walk in a collected walk. Oh, he already knows what's coming. And then what you want to do is you want to try to time tapping the hind leg right when the hind leg is going to leave the ground and stepping forward. He's like, he already knows what's coming. So the walking leg lifts are there. Lift, step, lift, step. I would have liked him to step that left hind forward. Lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift. Good boy. So the walking leg lifts are kind of like an asymmetrical walk where you're basically just trying to get in time with the horse's inside hind leg and teach your horse to take a bigger, higher step with their inside hind leg. Let me try it from the right side. Obviously, I've worked a lot on this with Mick, so he's like, knows that the next step is half steps, and he's ready to do that. So the walking leg lift is an exercise that really tests not only your coordination, but also your horse's coordination. Step 4 is half steps. So to get to the half steps, what you're going to do is you're going to start with the walking leg lifts, and you're basically just going to try to keep lifting the inside hind until your horse does one baby half step. So here we go. It's going to be lift, lift, lift. Oh my gosh, Mick, you're too good of a student. But that's how I taught him to half step like this. I really broke it down, right? I started with a walking leg lift and then lift, 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 lift. Good boy. Good boy. And then you want to make sure that you can do this on both sides. I am not as coordinated on the right side, but for your horse, it's really good to make sure that you can do this on both sides. Oh. Once I can do this, usually the last thing I do, like at this phase of his training, is I'll do the half steps with the long lines attached, because that allows me to have a little bit more control of the connection and also to work towards the passage. This whole process, I've been working with Mick for about a year now, and not every single day, but I would say, at least a couple of times a month, I work on the Piaffe. So if you want to learn more step-by-step in the details of how to position yourself and how to do all those things, because believe me, this is hard to learn. When I was first learning to do the in-hand work, I felt super awkward, but it's such a good skill to have because you can teach your horse so much from the ground. And then when you get on them, it's like way easier because they already understand what you're asking of them. So don't forget to check out the description box. Check out my Dressage Groundwork Masterclass. This is just like a little highlight. There's so much more that you need to teach from the ground, like turn on the forehand, the leg yield, the shoulder in, the suppleness, the connection, all of that you can teach your horse from the ground. And it really is essential to have these skills for when you start trying to teach your horse to piaffe in hand. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell because I post a new video every single Wednesday. We'll see you next week.